Are you thinking about relocating to Alpharetta, Georgia, and you want to know what the true cost is in 2024? Well, you landed on the right video. We're going to talk about what it costs to really relocate to Alpharetta, Georgia, and what the cost of living is in 2024. We're going to cover things like property tax, cost of gasoline, cost to register your cars, and so much more. And stay tuned to the very end, because we're going to even show you what it's like to buy a home in the subdivision that we are standing in today.
So we know when you talk about cost of living, this is different for everyone, and it's comparable to where you're moving from. So Alpharetta is considered one of the more expensive areas in the North Atlanta area, but there is a reason for that. People love living here. They offer such a great lifestyle, and people want that. So they do move here for that. And we're gonna go over what you get while living here, and if that cost really is something that you want to consider. Alpharetta is in a great location. We're about 30 miles north of the city of True Atlanta and about an hour away from the airport. And living in this suburb, you're gonna get so much green space for you and your family. Everyone loves the parks, the walking trails, the shopping, the restaurants that are here, and all the amazing subdivisions that you can get. So let's dive in, and we're gonna talk about the cost of living in 2024. And we're gonna start it off with utilities here in Alpharetta.
So the cost of living can vary depending on where you live in Alpharetta, and simply because you may be on propane, you may be on gas, you may have a big piece of land, or you may have a small piece of land. People move to Alpharetta because of the location. Living in Alpharetta, you're gonna have your normal utilities such as water, electricity, gas, and we're gonna jump into each one of those independently and see if the cost is maybe a little bit different than where you're relocating from. Well, starting with electricity and coming from California, we had about a 1,700 square foot home, and we like to keep our home around 70 degrees. Well, out here in Georgia, especially in Alpharetta, you get some huge homes. So you can imagine the cost of electricity increases significantly. Well, we were very shocked when we got our first electricity bill, and we went from a 1,700 square foot home to a 5,000 square foot home, and our electricity bill is really about the same. So the cost of electricity out here in Alpharetta, Georgia is actually quite cheap. Now, in the summertime, it does get warm. It can hit the 90s. So you can imagine that running your electricity, or if you have an electric car, that the cost can be quite expensive, but it's really not that bad. The other thing that we want to talk about as far as utilities is the water. Now, in Georgia, we get a ton of rain. So as far as irrigation systems and watering your front and backyard, it's not really needed as much as people may think. So you do get that. So it keeps your water bill a little bit lower. Now, if you have a family of 4 or 5, that's not going to change. Keeping them clean, giving them baths, all that stuff. The other thing we want to talk about is propane or gas. It does get cold during the winter here. Now, once again, it depends on where you're moving from, but in the wintertime, you can see the temperatures in the 20s and the 30s. So to keep a home cool, if you're on propane or gas, can be expensive. That was one thing that was a little bit of a shock to us moving from Southern California, is our gas bill was normally about 50 to 100 bucks. Sometimes we've seen bills as high as $200, $300, $400 during the winter just to keep our home warm. So overall, the cost of utilities here in Georgia is really not that bad considering what you get for your money. Now, one thing that did shock me was I had a smaller home in California. Well, we had a smaller home in California, and now we got a bigger home in Georgia, but we also got a bigger piece of land. And what comes with that is the maintenance on the land. So I'm used to paying a gardener 100 bucks a month back in Southern California. Well, because our lots were so big, we were spending $300 a month for our gardener. But also keep in mind that during the winter months, the Bermuda grass goes dormant. So really the gardeners aren't really needed for 3 or 4 months out of the year, maybe a little bit less.
They do maintain all the crazy bushes and weeds that grow.
They do, that is true. Let's jump into some other things that are maybe not associated with owning a home, but let's talk about owning a car here in Georgia.
So this was a huge shock for us. So car registration in Georgia is going to be a significant savings if you're coming from somewhere like us where they charged you an arm and a leg. Here, you pay every year, and it's about $20 to $40 a year. If you have an electric car, there is an additional fee on that, but it's really not that bad. The only thing that was a little bit shocking for us was that when you first bring your car over from another state, there is a one-time transfer fee, and it's a percentage of the car's value.
About 3 to 4% of the car's value, a one-time fee when you came in. So let's say your car is worth $100,000 to make math simple. You're spending about $3,000 to $4,000 on an entrance fee. Then every year after that will be about 20 to 50 bucks, depending on what kind of car you have. Depending on the, I think you can customize a license plate. So a couple different options to make that a little bit more money.
But that was definitely a huge saving, something shocking and exciting for us to jump into. And still talking about cars, the other savings that we saw was gas prices.
Yes.
This is something that he watches like a hawk. I mean, he does it so much that our kids are in the car and they say, hey mom, gas went from this to this, and they'll know that it changed 3 cents in a day. So we definitely spent a ton of money on gas in California. Everybody knows it's the most expensive there. But my parents still live there, and we kind of call and compare with them all the time. And it's always between $1 and $2 a gallon cheaper here than it is over there.
And yeah, the gas being right now is below $3 a gallon. Obviously, when you watch this video, things can change. But looking at other states, it's sitting at like $3, $4, even $5 a gallon. So that can add up if you are somebody that commutes to work. There's a lot of people that live in Alpharetta that work from home, which is great. But there are a group of people that, you know, travel to Atlanta, and that cost going back and forth can add up. It's a big savings over time and over the year just by having cheaper gasoline here in Georgia.
And not even driving to work. You want to be able to drive and do fun things with your family, especially when you move to a new city. And there's so much you can drive and see here. But if you're worried about gas prices, you're not going to get to experience that. And that kind of dives into the next thing that we're going to talk about, which will be entertainment here in Alpharetta, Georgia. So there's definitely things that you can go spend your money on to go entertain yourselves. But what we love and what people love about this area is all the free entertainment. There is constantly free live music happening at all the different city centers. They love to put on community events in these centers as well, and have open games of cornhole, big places to come run out with your kids and hang out. And so the idea that you can enjoy free events is also really amazing. You don't have to be spending money every weekend to entertain yourselves.
Yeah, with 2 kids, it's already expensive as it is, and I can't imagine putting more things on there. But there are a lot of fun things to do that do cost money, such as going to the Atlanta Braves game or going to maybe one of the Falcons football games, or even the soccer games that we went to. But there are so many parks for free entertainment, and there are a lot of families out here doing a lot of fun things during the week and also during the weekend. So you can really have a lot of fun. I apologize if I'm sweating out here. I'm wearing a heavy shirt, and it is just one of those warm days here in August. You seem to be doing fine, but I'm getting beat up by the sun. Yeah, I'm getting beat up by the sun out here. You can probably see it in my shirt already. All this walking around has got me so hungry as we look around at all these beautiful homes walking through the subdivision. But let's touch base on that. And what is the true cost of food here in Alpharetta, Georgia? Well, it depends on your style and your taste, because there are some amazing restaurants, and this place is known for its restaurants and its shopping here in Alpharetta, Georgia. But the overall cost as a family, or maybe even husband and wife, is really not all that different from one state to another. What I will say though is the quality of the food that you get here, because there are so many farms and what is it they call it, fork to food, food to fork, or
farm to table.
Farm to table, there we go. And there's so much here with that, because there's so much open land. You get a lot of fresh produce, you get a lot of fresh meat, there's farm fresh eggs constantly everywhere. So I would say, even though the price may be very similar to what you're paying now, the quality of the food you get is a little bit better. But when you do go to restaurants, I would say that's where you do see some savings, because when we take our kids out to dinner or to breakfast and they get the kids meal, even though they're kind of really not on that kids meal menu anymore, we do notice that it's a little bit cheaper for both them and also us. But it also depends on your quality of taste and what kind of food you like. There's so much out here, whether it's barbecue, Korean food, Chinese food, burgers, pizza, you name it, Alpharetta, Georgia has it. So we covered a lot of things so far about living in Alpharetta, Georgia, but one of the biggest concerns, and we know this personally because we lived in other states, is the property tax. Now, the homes may be a great price for you and the down payment works, but if that secondary cost, such as the property tax, insurance, helps make that payment go up where it's unaffordable, well, that's definitely something you need to know. The good news is Alpharetta, Georgia has one of the lowest property taxes in the nation as far as what you get. We're sitting around 1%, maybe 1.1%, but we came from Austin, Texas and lived there for a little bit where property tax was 3%. Now, when you're buying a $500,000 home, okay, 3% is quite a lot, but when you're buying $1 million home at 3%, that's a big difference. So in Alpharetta, Georgia, although the home prices are a little bit higher on the national average, your property taxes are pretty low, so your monthly payment is affordable, yet you get these massive homes in these great communities, and you have low HOAs, and you get so much bang for your buck. Now, what you get for your property tax is a huge question. And that's something you probably already know for where you live. but here in Alpharetta, Georgia, your property tax covers quite a bit. And I'm talking about schools. Amber, go ahead and take it off for the schools.
Yeah, so Alpharetta is located in Fulton County, and they are a great school district. They are known for being toply ranked every year. They even have high schools that are in the top 10 in the state of Georgia. And so that is another reason that drives people to Alpharetta, besides the beautiful trails, parks, shopping, and location, is the public education system. They do a great job of keeping these property taxes affordable, but they still funnel enough money into the school system that you are getting low student to teacher ratios, great test scores, great graduation rates. So that is something, if you are a family, that is super important. If I'm paying property taxes, I want it to go to something like my schools and also to the community, which they do another phenomenal job. It is beautiful around here. There's never trash on the ground. Everything is well maintained. The roads are smooth. That was a problem we had where we lived before in another state, was so many potholes and everything. They just really take care of the community. So having that property tax at 1%, which is a savings to us, like we said, it's comparable to where you're coming from, but we feel like they do a lot more with that money. So as we talked about earlier, some of these homes are going to be bigger, larger square footage than what you're used to, plus more land. And you may think this is going to cost me more, but we've experienced that we're not experiencing that. We're having a bigger home with less utility costs, less car maintenance, and less overall cost of the property tax and everything around us. So that is going to be your true cost here in Alpharetta in 2024, and we still think it is a great place to set down roots and come and be here.
Now, in Alpharetta, a lot of people don't know this, but there's actually two counties that you're in. Fulton County, as Amber mentioned, is the bigger part of the county, but there's part of Alpharetta that is in Forsyth County, and Forsyth County, believe it or not, has even better ranked schools than Fulton County. In fact, they're ranked number 3 in the entire state of Georgia. So whether you're on the Forsyth or the Fulton County side, you're getting great school systems, you're getting great amenities for your money, and low taxes. Now, let's jump into what the cost of living is for the area of Alpharetta, right? And you want to know, how much are the homes? Of course, you can look on Zillow and you can look on Realtor.com and you can look at new construction, but we're standing in front of the lots right now. And what I love about a lot of parts about Alpharetta is just the topography of the land and the way it's set up. Now, we have a home right behind us. It's sitting right on a corner lot. It's flat here, but right on the other side, we have a home that is sitting up. And there are a lot of homes that have different levels of elevation. The homes have a lot of space between them, and they also have deep backyards. Most of these homes are probably, I would say, a quarter to a half acre in a subdivision. So you get quite a bit of land for your money. Now, as far as the size of the homes, they are anywhere from 3,000 on up to about 6,000 square feet, single story, 2-story, and 3-story. And keep in mind, the 3-story is with a basement. So you can imagine you have a regular 2-story home with a basement. That's going to give you a 3-story home and make it about 6,000 square feet with a total built out space. Now, inside of the homes, you're still going to get 4 to 6 bedrooms, 3 to 5 bathrooms, somewhere in there. But as far as the price points for these 1995 built homes, you're looking about $850,000 in this subdivision of Deer Creek. Now, this is one of the popular subdivisions here in Alpharetta, and there are price points anywhere from $500,000 on up to multi-million-dollar homes in Alpharetta. People are relocating from all over the world, not just the United States, but all over the world to be here in Alpharetta, and it's a melting pot. A lot of money, a lot of income, and a lot of opportunity in this beautiful city of Alpharetta, Georgia.
In Alpharetta, Georgia, there's so many master planned communities, and that is something that we love and our clients love, because most of you guys are like us. You have a family and you need to keep everyone busy and entertained. So you take it away. Let them know in this community what you get with your HOA.
Yeah, so this community offers a lot, just like a lot of the subdivisions in Alpharetta. But we're standing at one of the tennis courts, aka pickleball courts, because I know that is so popular. But there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 courts, plus basketball, plus a playground. It's called Tater Tot Land or something like that. And then you also get the pool, you get a pond, you get so much stuff for your money. Now, the HOAs, depending on what you're used to, can vary. I've seen HOAs where they're $50 a month and they give you a gardener and that's about it. This community, although it's $200 a month, you get so much. The community is so clean, it's so well kept, and in fact, every little area that I go to where there's trash cans, I notice that there's no trash and there's a trash bag. And so that's one of my pet peeves, is going to a subdivision where the HOA is not taken care of. Not here in Deer Lake. This subdivision gives you so much, and it's a big size, big lots, and a great community.
We get calls from people just like you wanting to relocate to Atlanta all the time, and Alpharetta is their #1 choice, and we absolutely love it. So please reach out to us and let us show you what you can get here in the North Atlanta suburbs. Stay tuned, subscribe, and watch all of our upcoming videos.